stay young, stay younger, longer. You know, that whole thing called anti-aging, which we've coined a new word. We're using a new phrase, and I'll let David share that with you when he speaks with you in just a little bit. So it's really about being able to turn what some people are saying is the holy grail of healing, harnessing the power of that. The demographics, think about this for a minute. So many populations around the world are getting older. They need stem cells. They need the help of what stem cells can bring to their lives. Death rates are outpacing birth rates in some countries, meaning the population, in average, they're getting older. Lifespan is increasing, but what is the quality of life? I mean, that's what we're here for, is to enjoy ourselves as we become older. And David would be the first to say, no, let's not become older. In fact, let's actually go the other way. Let's get younger. Is that possible? Well, actually, it is. And that's what's most exciting, because people do want to live longer and feel younger. So, you do hold the key. As I said earlier, especially here in the Philippines, you are in a wonderfully interesting position, kind of at ground zero for the Philippines, to really start to share this information effectively. You hold the key. We all know it's so inexpensive, you know, for you folks that, again, that are new here today. So a sleeve of X39, 30 patches, a month's supply, retails for $149 US. Now that could sound like, oh, that's a lot of money. But in terms of what it does and what it accomplishes and what you feel and how you look, it's a tiny, tiny amount of money. There's no legal issues that stand in your way. We're not doing anything other than helping the body do what it's designed to do, only better. We don't put stuff into the body on any level. We are what you call a non-transdermal patch. It is a wearable technology that looks like a patch, and it communicates at the cellular level and boosts our health. It's that simple. No competition. I mean, no competition? There's not a Starbucks in every corner. There's not a LifeWave person in every corner. There isn't all kinds of coffee how should I say this? What I'm trying to say is there aren't all kinds of people selling all kinds of patches in the marketplace. There's only one company that has our technology. We're it in terms of what it does and what we represent. So we are the right time, the right product, and the right price, all at the same time. It is quite infrequent that people actually can take advantage of something. What really is the right product at the right time, at the right price. And LifeWave and X39 completely represents that. So that gives you an idea of the marketplace of just X39. We have other products too. You're going to learn about it. Also, as you sit with the person that invited you to this, they share with you the entire scope, size and scope of what LifeWave means. But today, we're focusing on X39 and its launch. And I think it's so perfect timing now, of course, to bring up our CEO and founder and the person who likes to call himself an inventor first. You know, when we were talking, 3-4 months ago, 5 months ago, and he made the statement, and in fact it's in the story of X39, which you can find at our website. He talks about this being, the X39 being the greatest inventing achievement ever for him. Now he has over 100 or 200 inventions to his name. For him to call out this single patch, X39, it's his best invention ever. I mean, that is really, really saying something. So the man who has, in many respects, single-handedly helped this company be where it is today. And of course, we have an excellent team across the world. But he's the driving force. He's the guy. He likes to call, he's the product guy. And boy, does he know his product. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up our CEO, founder, and inventor of X39, Schmidt.
Thank you very much. Okay, it is, take that volume down a little bit. I sound too loud. I'm going to do my best not to fall off the stage. It is great to be here in the Philippines, and so thank you all for being here today. And this would not be possible without the great leadership we have in the company. So first, a nice round of applause, if you would, for the leaders that we have in Whitebird. Thank you. And I would also like to thank our local leadership that we have here. I don't want to leave anyone out, but I would like to call out Maribel Galindez and Anthony Frank. We still help life to us in promoting the event. We also have leaders that have come in from outside of the Philippines. Just want to cite a few of those. First, Roy Sergiono and Rick DeLuca are here all the way from California to support their team. Also, Jed and Hero, again, all the way from California to support their team here. And let's see, Larry Yang, Nikki Chan in here from the United States, from California to support their team. And let's see, David Jumper, all the way in from Canada to support the team. Again, I will be up here a while if we thank all the leaders. But anyway, thank you to all of you for being here today. So we're going to be talking about stem cells and how you can use this technology today. Now this is important. I've been researching stem cells for the past 10 years. And stem cells are absolutely the future of health and medicine. They're going to change the way we look at our health and the way that we treat our bodies in all sorts of circumstances. For example, in the future, when people are in an accident, they will go into a hospital and get an injection of stem cells to start helping the recovery process. They will be given a Band-Aid which has stem cells in it, or an ointment to start treating a burn or an injury. And the way that we treat accidents will be very different. We'll be using stem cells. The way that we treat disease will change in the future. So, for example, just recently in Japan, within the past few months, human trials of injecting stem cells directly into the brain were approved as a treatment for Parkinson's disease. This is a clinical study to see if stem cell injections into the brain can treat Parkinson's. We're going to be treating diabetes by injecting stem cells into the pancreas and repairing the damage so your body can once again make its own insulin. Heart disease, Alzheimer's, MS, fibromyalgia, all these things and more will become a thing of the past through stem cell injections. And the way that we think about aging is also going to completely change. So imagine in the future when you can get an injection of stem cells from a younger donor. As those stem cells replicate and repair, you will be replacing older cells with younger cells. Now, all these things are in our future. Some of them are within the next 5 to 7 years. Other things may be about 20 years off. But it is happening. The reason why we don't have stem cell science and medicine available for everyone today is for a few very important reasons. First thing is that stem cell medicine is still dangerous. When you inject stem cells into the body, there is currently no way to control how the stem cells divide. So there is a risk that you can inject stem cells and injure the person. Stem cell medicine is also extremely expensive. It can range anywhere from a few thousand US dollars to $30,000 or more, depending on the type of stem cells that are injected. And there is also a likelihood that the stem cells won't do anything at all, that after you inject them, they're killed off by the body's inflammation. So there is a lot that needs to happen before stem cells go mainstream and they're available to everyone. So I started working on this project 10 years ago, and the direction that I wanted to take our company was completely different than the way other companies were going. Instead of injecting stem cells into the body, what if there was a way to take the stem cells already inside of us and make them start to act like younger, healthier cells? This would be incredibly safe, inexpensive, available to everyone, and provide a whole range of benefits. And this is exactly the technology you're going to be learning about today. It doesn't involve any vitamins or minerals, no supplements, no drugs. All of this happens with the power of light. So just like you would go out into the sun and sunlight would cause your body to make vitamin D, we use light to elevate a naturally occurring compound in the body that normally declines with age that governs how stem cells function. And when you elevate this compound, the stem cells come alive, they start behaving like younger, healthier cells, and the benefits are extraordinary. So let's get into this. And the first thing that I want to do is share with you a little bit about this 10-year journey and how we got here. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so one of the life forms that we study in our research is called the planaria, and the planaria is a flatworm. And what's extraordinary about the planaria is you can cut off its head or cut off its tail, and it will regrow a new one in only 17 days. So we study this in our laboratories in San Diego because we want to try to understand how does this happen, and maybe there would be a way that we could apply this to human beings. We also study something called hydractinia, which is a sea animal. And what's extraordinary about the hydractinia is that you cut off its tentacles and it will regrow new tentacles in about 3 or 4 days. We can also inject a dye into the hydractinia, and we can watch how the stem cells move to the injury site, and this provides further insight. This is a Mexican axolotl. We study this because you cut off a leg and it can regrow a new leg. You damage one of its organs and it will regenerate the organ. So of course we want to understand any way that we could apply this incredible healing ability to human beings. Now there's a human being, and of course what we know is that when we're born, we have the capacity to heal from injury, but unlike some of these other creatures, at the age, our ability to heal keeps declining until eventually when we're 75 or 80 years old, the stem cells are virtually inactive in our body and we can no longer heal and repair. So this is why it's dangerous for someone that's elderly to get into an accident, because they don't have the stem cell capacity to heal. So what can we learn from these other creatures that we could apply to human beings? So scientists all over the world are studying planaria, hydractinia, starfish, tadpoles, lobster, many other organisms, and looking at their incredible regenerative capabilities. And as it turns out, the answer is in the genes and the stem cells. That's what makes them different. Now, if we were to go back, if we were doing this meeting 20 years ago, and I were to tell you it is possible to change your genes, not these things, okay? The genes in the cells. It's possible to change the genes inside of your cells and reset them to a younger, healthier state. If I were to tell you that 20 years ago, and there was a scientist in here from Harvard or Stanford or MIT or any famous university, they would tell you that's absolutely impossible. The way you're born is that you age and you die, and there's nothing you can do about it. But about 15 years ago, a discovery was made at Harvard University, and it gave birth to the science of epigenetics. And essentially, this discovery was that it is possible to introduce different things into the human body that will reset the genes to a younger state and reverse aging. The challenge has been that no one yet has figured out how to apply that to human beings. And so companies like Merck and Google and many others have invested billions of US dollars into trying to develop drugs to do this. We just happen to have gotten there first. And you'll learn about that. And I wish someone would give me $1 billion for discovering that. I didn't get that yet, so I feel a little slighted, you know, that it went to someone else. Anyway, we're going to talk about today what exactly is within the capabilities of X39 and how it's possible to reset stem cells to a younger state and get all of these incredible benefits. Now, as Jim had pointed out, in my career, I have hundreds of inventions. I have over 100 patents and patent applications. And in the field of regenerative science, I have about 70 issued patents globally. So thank you. So we have invested very heavily into the future, which is regeneration. And we've also been very fortunate about over the past 6 years or so to have developed a cooperative relationship with the National University of Ireland in Galway. Now, this ranks in the top 2% of universities globally, and Remedy stands for the Regenerative Medicine Institute, and there are some of the top stem cell scientists in the world at Remedy. We also made a presentation on a technology that I invented. I'm going to show you in just a moment. And we received funding from the Irish government to do research work at the Regenerative Medicine Institute in Ireland. And the results are quite interesting, and it's one of the reasons why we're here today. So I'm going to share that with you. Now, this is a technology I invented and we developed at our laboratories in San Diego. And this is a new and patented form of electromagnetic field therapy. And basically, what we wanted to find out is it possible to use technology to speed up the way that people heal? So people could recover from injuries they normally couldn't recover from, and that they would heal faster. So we used a standard stem cell model, which is working with rabbits. Now, what you do with a rabbit is you create an injury on the ear, and then you fold the ear over so the rabbit won't scratch at it. And without any type of treatment, the rabbit will heal in 14 days. When you apply stem cells directly to the injury will heal about 20% to 40% faster. Now, we applied our electromagnetic coil. We applied our electromagnetic coil, and we found that we could accelerate the healing of the injury at that same 20 to 40%. So this experiment was very important because what it meant was that you did not have to inject stem cells to heal an injury faster. You could do it all with energy. And that got me thinking about, well, how are stem cells being controlled in the first place? And since we could use electromagnetic energy to speed up the stem cells, maybe there would be a way we could do this with a patch. So I got back to our laboratory in San Diego, and the World Authority on Planaria is actually in San Diego. San Diego is the biomedical center of research in the United States. And what everyone in the stem cell community is trying to do is figure out how can we regenerate the head of a planaria in 15 days. So if there is a way that we could accelerate the healing in planaria, maybe we could also do it in human beings. And the target that the stem cell community has is 15 days. So we applied that device that I showed you, and we were able to regenerate the planaria in only 8 days. Now, I am rarely satisfied. I'm German, so I tend to be a little bit of a perfectionist. So we kept working and refining it since this was our first try, and then we got it down to 6 days. We kept working and got it down to 4 days. Then we got it down to 3 days. Then 2 days. Then we cut off the head of a planaria and it regrew in only 1 day. We started to introduce something else, and we got our best record of 16.5 hours. So you can imagine if you had a technology, let's say this was in a hospital, and someone were in an accident, and you could begin healing the injuries right away, very, very fast, we could save people's lives. So that's the goal with this technology. But we actually didn't stop there. In the way of developing the X39, we took another 9 months to reevaluate how we were doing this. We created a new piece of technology that was invented and then patented, and this healed the injury in only 15 minutes. Now, this did not, by the way, regrow the entire head in 15 minutes. What that meant was we created a cut across the planaria, and we videotaped this, and you can actually see the injury healing up in only 15 minutes. It's kind of like Star Trek. So we hope to have that technology in hospitals. But this work absolutely proved no stem cell injections are needed. You can heal the body with energy. So we went on from there, and then I started to look at developing a patch that could accelerate wound healing. And of course, the problem is that as we age, the stem cells age with us. So the stem cells begin to slow down, they don't release as many growth factors, and eventually, after the age of 75, there's no more stem cells left in the body. So this is a real problem. And what everyone else is trying to do is inject stem cells into the body. That's the solution that they want to have. But of course, we know that injecting stem cells into the body is full of all kinds of problems. So what did we do with X39? With X39, we want to make stem cell technology available to everyone. First thing is it has to be safe. And we already have stem cells in our body. The problem is they age. But if we can turn those stem cells into younger, healthier cells, it's completely safe because those stem cells already know what to do, and there's no risk that they're going to be rejected. By using our own stem cells, it's going to be very inexpensive. It's not going to cost thousands of dollars. So it'll be safe and affordable to everyone and provide a huge number of benefits. So the question is, what exactly happens when you activate stem cells? What does that even mean? Well, the first thing is there's an immediate effect. Now this is important because you're not taking a vitamin pill, you're not using a drug, you're not using stimulants. We're just simply using light to elevate a compound in the body that would normally decline with age. That's what makes it safe and effective, and it goes to work immediately. Energy. In order to heal and repair an injury, you have to increase the metabolism. So people that use X39 are going to feel more energy. And this starts within the first 1 to 3 days for most people. Now, another really interesting thing with X39 is many people will experience better sleep with it. And this seems a little bit unusual at first. Why would something that gives you more energy also improve sleep? And most people will, again, see this the first 1 to 3 days. Well, we are repairing and healing the body at night. And so in order for stem cells to do what they do, they have to activate a hormone and a neurotransmitter in the body called GABA, G-A-B-A. We found this through our metabolic testing. And what's important about that is that GABA elevates melatonin. So when you use X39, it will elevate GABA, elevate melatonin, and you'll sleep better. Now, why would a product that activates stem cells elevate GABA? Well, as it turns out, not only does GABA elevate melatonin, it also elevates something in the cell and in the body called BDNF. And this is a regulator of stem cell activity. During the first month, last July, when we made X39 available, one of the first testimonials we got was from a gentleman in Switzerland. He had suffered a mild stroke 7 years ago. This gave him an impaired memory and impaired speech. Within 10 days of using X39, all of his symptoms from that mild stroke disappeared. So this is very, very powerful. Now, another thing that happens with X39, some of you are going to experience dramatic pain relief, and some of you will actually have an increase temporarily in pain. Now, this is why this happens, is that when you have an injury in the body, the way that we get rid of that injury is to first increase inflammation. The inflammation goes in, it tears down the old damaged tissue, and now the stem cells can go in and make new cells and new tissue. So if you're getting an increase in pain when using X39, if it's too intense, you should remove it and then just use it gradually. But the product is working and the healing process is underway. Now, wrinkle reduction is a side benefit of using X39, and you'll see it. I'll show you a testimonial later, one of them that we have. The reason is that in order to heal injuries, stem cells have to increase production of collagen in the body. So of course we think of collagen as being in the skin, which it is, but actually collagen is the most abundant protein in the body. We find it everywhere. And when stem cells go into an injury, they increase collagen so it can repair the injury. But the nice side benefit to it is if you don't have anything wrong with you, is that you'll find your skin is thickening, and so we reduce the appearance of lines and wrinkles. Let's see, do we have any people that like to exercise here? Oh, come on. It's like 10 people. Are you kidding me? Okay. Richie McNamee. Richie, how old are you now? 85 years old. I will guarantee you the reason why he's 85 is because he has a lifelong commitment to exercise, okay? Congratulations, Richie. Okay. When we exercise, and all of those of you that aren't exercising, shame on you, exercise, okay? It's good for you. What we're trying to do is damage the muscle. And then the stem cells are going to heal the damage, and then we grow stronger and we have more stamina. Well, of course, it's the stem cells that are healing the injury. So whether or not you just want to exercise to stay healthy, or you're a professional or an Olympic athlete, or a college or a high school athlete, you're going to see an improved sports performance with X39. Hair growth. If the circulation in your body is not impaired, stem cells can activate in the scalp and cause the production of new hair follicles and regrow more hair. That's an if. So I'm going to have a disclaimer on that. Now, one thing that definitely happens with X39 is scar reduction, and you're going to see some very dramatic photographs later from actual users of X39. And again, when there is a scar, it's formed from a combination of inflammation and something called a keloid protein. But basically, it doesn't matter if the scar has been there 1 day, 1 year, or even 10 years. You're going to see how these scars will heal very nicely with X39. And by far, the most dramatic testimonials that we get with X39 are in wound healing. And they're some of the first testimonials that we got. And of course, this is how most people think of stem cells, is that when there's an injury, stem cells go to work and heal the injury. And if you're older and you use X39, you're going to find you start healing the way that you did when you were younger. And you'll see some testimonials on that. Now, youth renewal, you'll see a very dramatic testimonial later on how we can use X39 to recover youth and health. And this is because the compound that X39 elevates will reset about 4,000 genes in the body, or about 1/3 of the human genome, to a younger, healthier state. I often get asked, so I'll just tell you now so we can get the question out of the way. Next month I turn 56, and so I have been using our products now for over 15 years, and I feel great. There's a lot of other benefits to X39. I do want to make it clear that we don't make any medical claims, and the benefits that you see here are the ones that we claim. But there's other benefits that you can find in the literature that show up, but we keep this as a health product. Okay, now what we're going to talk about is the actual peptide or compound that X39 is going to elevate, and it's called copper peptide. If we could go to the next PowerPoint. This is just our standard disclaimer. You're going to see medical terms here, but again, I want to make it clear we're not making any medical claims. Okay. Oh, what's happening there? Okay, perfect. We'll just leave it right there. Good. Okay, so how does X39 activate stem cells, and how to benefit from it, and what are some of the benefits? The first thing, it was discovered more than 10 years ago that there are stem cells in the skin, and it's possible to change the programming of those stem cells. This is a technique that's used today in research. The important thing for you to know is that the characteristics of stem cells can be changed with something called peptides. Now, a peptide is nothing more than a string of amino acids. So in other words, you have breakfast or lunch or dinner, you eat protein, the protein is made of amino acids. Once they get into your body takes those amino acids and makes thousands of different peptides, and these peptides get involved in making hormones, healing the body, controlling different systems, sleep, and so forth. And they are master regulators of everything that happens in our body. So the important thing is it was discovered that you could actually change the stem cells in the skin from being a skin stem cell to be a pluripotent stem cell, which is a universal stem cell. Pluripotent is a universal cell and it's where there's many different types of stem cells, but for the purpose of this discussion, we would just say pluripotent or what are called multipotent. So in other words, pluripotent are these universal stem cells, and as they begin to divide and specialize, they turn into what are called multipotent cells. So if we have pluripotent cells, then we can begin to heal and support healing of about anything in the body. So this happens actually with copper peptide. And this is significant because there are products that are on the market today that claim to increase the number of stem cells in the body. But if you're 40, 50, 60 years old or older, why would you want to have more of older cells? It doesn't make any sense. It's only going to have a limited effect. Instead, we can use X39, take the stem cells in your body, reset them to a younger state, and when we activate the stem cells in the skin, they will turn into pluripotent cells and increase the total number of stem cells in the body. So X39 is also a way to increase the number of stem cells in the body. So that's important. So here's what happens. You have an injury in the skin. You use X39 to elevate copper peptide. The stem cells quickly move to the injury site, and now they begin to heal the injury. Let's say that you had a pulled muscle inside of the body or another injury. Now the stem cells in the skin, because you're elevating copper peptide, will leave the skin and they will go into the body and help support the healing. So you have as many stem cells as you need to support natural healing. So this is really important. And this has been found. Here's one clinical study. I'll go through some of this quickly, otherwise we'll be here for too long. But here's actually a clinical study that was just published in 2017 and 2018, which shows that copper peptide can support the natural process of repair of organs and other tissues in the body. So this is, in summary, what we've been talking about here is that you put on an X39 and it helps stimulate stem cells in the skin. It increases the total number of stem cells that are available for healing. And this is going to support the natural wound healing process. Here's yet another study, again published in 2015 and 2018, which describes in more detail how stem cells using copper peptide can support healing of the skin, the lungs, liver, and other organs. Yet another study showing how, when you elevate copper peptide, this helps support wound healing and also controlling inflammation. If we don't control inflammation, we can't heal. So many of you, if you have arthritis, for example, or fibromyalgia, you're going to notice you start feeling better because the inflammation is getting under control. Now, another very important part of X39, one of the most critically important parts, is that copper peptide regulates gene expression. Up until 15 years ago, it was thought this was impossible. That whatever your genes were, you were stuck with it, and you were destined to age and die. Then a fellow by the name of Dr. David Sinclair at Harvard discovered that resveratrol, which is the antioxidant, which is a weak antioxidant, by the way, that's found in wine and grapes and other things, that resveratrol could actually reset a group of genes in the body called the sirtuin genes and mildly reset some of the genes back to a younger state. So it was proven scientifically that this is possible. The problem is resveratrol is just too weak. We can use it to help support health, but it's not going to make us young. And that's what we want. Copper peptide, on the other hand, is much, much more powerful at doing this. And that's one of the most important parts of X39, getting the cells to act young and healthy. Now, another thing, when we refer to activate stem cells, that is both a technical term and a marketing term. And the other ways that we could describe this is in terms of proliferation or mobilization. And what that means is that when you have an injury, the stem cells cannot heal the injury unless they get to the injury, right? It kind of makes sense. But as we age, the ability of the stem cells to move and act decreases. The stem cells actually slow down. When we use X39 and we elevate copper peptide, one of the things that occurs is that we increase the speed of proliferation, meaning now the stem cells can get to the injury site much more quickly so we can heal more rapidly. Okay, so this is just a quick summary for any of you that want to take a picture, but this is a summary of what it is that we've been talking about. Okay. Now let's talk about this. I've mentioned that this is copper peptide, and most of you have probably never heard of this, so let's talk about it in a little bit more detail. This is the chemical name for it. It's called GHKCU. And this is a very simple peptide, which is made of 3 amino acids, glycine, histidine, and lysine. And this peptide has an affinity for copper. So in other words, when this peptide is synthesized in your body, it will bind to copper more than any other peptide, and this is where the magic begins to occur. So let's talk about copper peptide and what some of the benefits are. Now first, this was actually discovered 45 years ago by Dr. Lauren Picard. And there's a good reason why you haven't seen in the past 45 years copper peptide in the market. It's impossible to get it other than for research. And we'll get into that in just a little bit. But the way that Dr. Picard discovered this was that he was experimenting with liver cells in the body and was seeing a very high degree of inflammation in these cells. And he started to take liver cells from old people in their 80s and began to put these cells into the blood plasma of people in their 20s. And remarkably, he found that those old cells turned into young, healthy cells. Now keep in mind, 45 years ago, this was thought to be impossible. So he was really making a remarkable discovery. He was really onto something. And through years of research, he isolated the compound that was turning old cells into young cells, and it was GHKCU. So he's put 45 years of research into this, and that should tell you that Dr. Picard is very convinced of the safety and the efficacy of copper peptide. Really interesting guy, by the way. Now let's look at this. First thing for you to understand is that copper peptide occurs naturally in the body, and like many other things, it declines with age. So growth hormone starts to decline after the age of 30. Testosterone begins to drop off after the age of 40. Melatonin production begins to drop off. Copper peptide, after the age of 30, begins to drop off. So by the time we reach age 60, our levels of copper peptide have dropped by 60% or more. Isn't it? What the heck is that? Somebody's phone. Okay. We have a rule here in the Philippines that when your cell phone goes off, you have to come up on stage and sing a song. Okay? You've been warned. You've been warned. All right. So this is really important because if copper peptide is controlling the activity of stem cells, And the levels of copper peptide have dropped off by more than 60%. This explains why your stem cells aren't working as well. So we have to change that. Now there are a huge number of benefits to elevating copper peptide. The one that's been the most well studied scientifically is promotion of wound healing. So scientists want to see, is there any way that you could give people, let's say, an injection of copper peptide and help speed up the recovery process? You'll see later on a very dramatic case of growth of new blood vessels. We had a gentleman who was in a motorcycle accident 18 years ago. His thumb turned blue because the blood vessels were broken. They never healed. And so he got impaired circulation in the thumb, and X39 helped repair that damage even after 18 years. Of course, as we've discussed, copper peptide will increase the total number of stem cells in the body, activate over 4,000 genes, so the stem cells perform like young, healthy cells, control inflammation, reduce pain and anxiety, and very interestingly, there have been quite a few studies to show how X39 repairs damage to the DNA. So let's say, for example, you are going to be in Cebu or Palawan, right? You're going to go out on the beach and you are going to get a sunburn, and this is going to damage the DNA. Clinical studies on copper peptide show that before those cells divide, it will repair the damage to the DNA. Now, I do want to make it clear, we haven't done our own study on that, so it's not a claim we make. That's something that you see in the literature on copper peptide. Now, there's a whole lot of other benefits here. Regarding cosmetic benefits, X39 is going to smooth out the appearance of the skin, reduce the appearance of lines and wrinkles, and improve cell hydration, and very importantly, lower the production of something called fibrinogen. One of the consequences of aging is that we start to reduce in our capacity to manage inflammation. And inflammation, if not controlled, will damage healthy cells and it will age us more quickly. So X39 is a way that we can manage inflammation and slow down aging. Now, skin hydration is something really important. When people age and they are drinking water and they say that they're still thirsty, the reason is because it's collagen that will hold water in the body. So as you age, even if you're drinking enough water, it becomes more and more difficult to stay hydrated. If you use X39, it's going to increase collagen production in the body. Now your body can stay more hydrated. As a consequence, your skin will look better. Although my experience has shown that people in the Philippines don't age as quickly as the rest of everybody else. So this may not apply to any of you. But for those of you outside the Philippines, like my American and Canadian friends, let's have at it. We need help. Okay. Still more benefits. Very interesting thing that we're looking at. We work with a medical doctor in Rome, and we look at medical applications of our technology. My mom had passed away from lung cancer and breast cancer. And this oncologist that we work with specializes in breast cancer. And so one of the things that we've done is we've developed a product for women that are going through chemotherapy and radiation to help them recover more quickly. Well, one of the things that we're looking at now is that when women or men, when they go through radiation therapy, the radiation destroys a part of the cell called the fibroblasts. And this is the part of the cell that makes collagen. So this explains why when people have cancer and they go for radiation treatments, that they can't heal. They get a radiation burn and they can't heal. X39, or I should say copper peptide, has been shown in clinical research to protect cells from radiation damage. So this is something that we're looking into. Maybe we can help people that are undergoing treatments for cancer and protect them from radiation so they can recover more quickly. Now, how do we know that copper peptide does some of these things? I'll go through this quickly. There is a marker where we can easily measure this, and this is done in research over at the university that we worked with. But you measure something called p63 protein, and basically this is a gene that helps control how stem cells proliferate. So it's very easy, relatively speaking, to measure changes in the way stem cells proliferate. So in other words, you increase copper peptide, you speed up the stem cells. Now the brain has a remarkable capacity called neuroplasticity. And what this means is that even if you have damage to the brain can rewire its neural network and recover from the damage. So we had done years ago a clinical study with a PhD in Washington in the United States, and we found that using our carnosine patch, if we took people over the age of 60, they would have a significant improvement in their concentration, memory, focus, and even the speed at which they process information. Copper peptide does this as well. So what this means is if you're getting a little bit older and you're starting to forget things, X39 is a way to improve your memory. Great. If that's your interest, by the way, I would suggest using X39 during the day and use carnosine in the evening. Or if you wanted to use both X39 and our carnosine patch during the day, you can do that too. It's really flexible and it's simple. Okay, we've already kind of discussed about pain relieving effects with copper peptide. This is just yet another clinical study that's showing that copper peptide has many, many anti-aging effects and will significantly improve the way that we heal. This is just yet another study which is proving that copper peptide creates more stem cells in the body by making these pluripotent universal stem cells. This is yet another study that shows how copper peptide gets involved in wound healing. So basically, when these studies are done, an injection of copper peptide is given. So this, of course, is fine if someone is trying to recover from an injury, but getting injections of copper peptide is not legal. It's never been approved. And also, most people don't want to give themselves an injection every day. Right, so that's why we have the patch. This is yet another clinical study. I made the comment that copper peptide increases production of collagen in the body, and this is one of the ways that we know that. Okay, this is another clinical study, and this just simply was referring to how copper peptide protects the fibroblasts from radiation. So help you recover more quickly. Okay, so you may be wondering by now, if copper peptide is so great, and it was discovered 45 years ago, how come there isn't a pill to elevate copper peptide? Well, it's really simple. You take copper peptide pill, and it's toxic in the stomach. So the only way that you can elevate it is either for your body to do it naturally or to get an injection. So oral supplements of copper peptide were never approved by any government because they're toxic. They're just available for research. Same thing with injections. You can get an injection of copper peptide, but it will start to degrade in your body very quickly. So you give an injection, an hour later it's gone. And there really aren't many people that want to inject themselves with something several times per day. All right, that's no fun. So this just simply means, as Jim said before, we've got no competition when it comes to X39 on top of that. Okay, so this all sounds great, but now let's go ahead and take a look at how this has actually changed people's lives all over the world. I would definitely encourage you to go to our website and read some of the testimonials that we have. But I'm going to show just a few of these here now so you can get a little bit of an idea. So, of course, we get many testimonials from people saying how X39 improved their energy, improved their sleep, relieved their pain, improved their sports performance, made their skin better. So, of course, all of those things you can't really see too well, but now we're going to show you some of the dramatic things that people have experienced. So this is a gentleman from Italy who back in July of 2017 had open heart surgery. And you can see in July of 2018, we still have a scar that's present. So this is just 1 year old. X39 became first available in July of 2018, and so we see that there's virtually no scar there after only 1 month of using X39. Okay. Now here's another example where X39 was applied right after surgery. You can see that this was, well, relatively speaking, this was applied in September of 2018. You can see the surgery. We'll make that a little bit larger. And then right there, we get nice room going. One thing important about this is that it doesn't matter where you apply the patch. You could get the same result with putting the patch on the back of your neck or below the belly button. But many people just want to put it near the injury. So if you want to do that, that's fine. But you don't have to. It will just heal as nicely anyway. Okay. Now, this is from a medical doctor in Denmark. And she was on vacation in Spain, and she got stung by a jellyfish. And I understand that you eat jellyfish here in the Philippines. And you do that to get revenge on all the jellyfish. I think that's a strategy, by the way. But you can see what happens here. It's very, very painful, as you know. You put an X39, in this case, right near the injury, and it was able to control her pain. And over a period of 3 weeks, the injury began to heal very, very nicely. Okay. Now, this is actually something we've been studying the past 6 years. And there are 430 million people globally that suffer with diabetes. And diabetic neuropathy, of course, results from when people have elevated blood sugar. And this damages the peripheral nerves and leads to diabetic ulcerations. And in about 20% of the cases, amputation is required. So there's a very high risk of infection, and there is no known drug or medical treatment to heal these wounds. This is something that medical science has yet to achieve. So this person went through, in the middle picture, 40 cycles of oxygen therapy in an attempt to keep the wound clean, and you can see that after 40 treatments, nothing happened. They applied the LifeWave patches, and we got wound closure. Okay. Now this is going to be maybe a little bit more difficult to see, but this is eczema. And it's very important, we are not claiming we are treating or curing any of these diseases. We're managing symptoms. So we're not claiming that we cure eczema. We're simply saying that we're reducing the swelling, the itching, and the pain. And it happens very quickly, only within 7 days. Okay. Now, this photo here is a little bit better. You can see on the left, again, there's skin irritation here, and only after 2.5 days, the inflammation, the pain, and the itching is significantly reduced. Okay. All right, now, it's very important, if you haven't started X39 yet, it's very important that you take before and after photos, because sometimes the difference will be subtle, and unless you're taking the photographs, you're not going to be able to see the difference. So this is a woman that was using X39 for 2 months, and you can see how on the right, the lines and wrinkles are much softer. Right? So she's experiencing an improvement in collagen and a decrease in the lines and wrinkles. Okay, so that's after about 2 months. And then, of course, with continued use, it can still improve. Okay, now, this picture, hold on a second. This picture requires some explanation. Okay, this is a medical doctor in Scandinavia who is going through chemotherapy for pancreatic cancer. His daughter is a medical doctor. And he went through the chemotherapy. You can see how he lost his hair. And his daughter gave him X39 to help him recover from the toxic side effects of the chemotherapy, and he regrew his hair. Now, we don't know if the hair would have grown back anyway, but he felt that X39 was part of his healing process, so he wanted us to include this testimonial. So I will share the testimonial with that disclaimer. Okay, now this is something definitely we don't need a disclaimer on. This is from a mother in France, and her son had a job interview 5 days after he was in an accident. And this was an accident while he was snowboarding. He fell down on his face, he hit a rock, and you can see the extent of the damages. So only 5 days after applying X39, we see remarkable. In the day 5 photo, you can see that there's still an abrasion above his lip, but other than that, this picture is on our website, by the way, so you can get a closer look at it. You can get a closer look at it, and you can see that the healing has been really remarkable. Now here is this 18-year-old injury, and so this fellow was in a motorcycle accident, and he damaged the blood vessels in his thumb. And you can see that the color of the thumb is not very healthy, it's blue. And also notice that the nail has died. So this again is from a loss of blood flow, oxygen, and nutrients into the thumb. So he tried many different things over a period of 18 years, nothing worked. He used X39 for 100 days, and you can see that the color was restored and the nails were back. And there's going to be a look at the thumbs right next to one another. So some of you, maybe think, the reason why we show this is some of you may be thinking, well, I had an injury, 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Is X39 going to help me? Answer is absolutely yes. Okay. Now, we've been talking a lot about how X39 will reset cells in the body to a younger, healthier state. So a good question would be, what are the anti-aging benefits of X39? Are you ready for the answer? Yes. Okay, the answer is none. It doesn't promote anti-aging, it promotes longevity. Okay? We are now entering the age of being a longevity company. Up until this point, we've been an anti-aging company. So we could keep people healthier longer. All that's changed now with X39. Now we're in the field of longevity, which means we want people to reclaim their youth and significantly extend how long they live. So with X39, now we have a technology that can literally, quite literally, reset genes in the body to a younger, healthier state. Now this is a 93-year-old woman who lives in Denmark, and she was suffering with a number of life-threatening medical problems, which we won't name because I don't want to make medical claims. Her daughter is a lightweight distributor and recommended that her mother use X39. And here's what happens after 2 months on X39. So, thank you. So we are entering an era now where scientifically it's becoming possible to reset the cells in our body to a younger, healthier state. Get our body to start acting, feeling younger, and being healthier. And that's what this is all about. So I want to thank you for all being here. First, because you're investing in yourselves. This is the future. And whether or not you decide that you just want to use this for yourself or your family, or that you're going to turn this into a business and get in on the ground floor of the stem cell industry, the choice is absolutely up to you. But just know that you don't have to suffer. You don't have to get through your day using energy drinks. You don't have to suffer in pain. You don't have to have insomnia and be awake all night. There are solutions. They're natural. They're effective. They're affordable. And they can help you today. So this is what we're all about. We're all about offering hope and changing the lives of people around the globe. So thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you very much.